It's so sunny. Oh my God. Thank you for your patience. We have a lot to go over here. It was quite the evening last night. How many of you actually watched the Oscars? Hi, everybody. It's so nice to see all of you. Thank you to all of you who are members, and thank you to everybody who's joining who's not a member. I always love seeing you guys. You guys are the best. Oh, some did, some did not. Dwizzle, I hear you on that, unfortunately. I'll just say it now. The Oscars were so bad that they actually made me angry when I was watching them. I was like, I can't believe I have to watch this. It was tough. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through a couple of things that I want to say about the Oscars, and then at the very end, hey Harry, hey Juan, hey Jeremiah, oh look at all these new members. If you join, hey Daniel, if you join during a stream, I will take a short moment and say hello to you. So I want to go over some things first, and then we'll go over the big wins. All right. So, or maybe we'll go over all the wins if you want to stick around. I do have a lot to do. I have so much to do this week. Today is I've been watching so much television today because for work. I'm watching Jupiter's Legacy today. Hey, Steven. And because of the Oscars, I have to watch all 8 episodes in a single day. I could have watched some of them last night, but instead I had to watch the Oscars. I was upset. All right, so thank you, everybody, for joining me. Let's go through my thoughts on it, and then we'll go over the winners. Hey, Ryan, I'm glad you were able to make it today. I'm not allowed to tell you about Jupiter's Legacy so far, but I gotta say I'm having a nice day. All right, so the ratings, as some of you saw, the ratings for the Oscars did hit. They not only dropped 58%, but they hit an all-time low for viewership, with under 10 million people tuning in. For an awards show, especially like the Oscars, that's real bad. So I think, of course, obviously there was the pandemic and the fact that the Oscars are so late, and they're even later than usual this year. I still feel that the Oscars coming up last has always been a problem for them. I think they feel like, oh, we're saving best for last, but there's rarely a difference in who wins. So I think a lot of people are like, I don't need to tune in. So I think that was one issue. I think going into the Oscars, nobody thought it was going to have I don't think any of us felt it was going to have high ratings. We didn't think it was going to plummet like that, but it did. So what are the other factors? I think the movies nominated. There was no movie that got people excited. There was no Joker. Hey Gregory, there was no Joker. There was no Avatar, right? There was no Black Swan. There hasn't been a movie that's gotten people excited about the Oscars in a while. I mean, when Leonardo DiCaprio was going to win, people were excited about that because he has a lot of fans. So you didn't have anything like that. So the movies nominated and the actors nominated was a bit of a problem. Then I think the advertising was so bad. I mean, many of you didn't even know the Oscars were on last night. I was tweeting about it, and some of you were being sarcastic, but some of you were like, oh, are the Oscars on right now? What? So I feel like the Oscar, and they didn't utilize any actors or any movies in the advertisements. They were just like, Oscar Modern Art Show, and everyone was like, a hard pass. So I think that was a problem. Now, the show itself was just horrible. It was just an absolutely horrible show. I know some of you were saying it was funny that the ABC executive was like, hey man, we tried some stuff, it didn't work out, but at least people are talking about it. You have to understand, sometimes executives, they need to make sure that they don't get in trouble. So of course they're going to put a positive spin on it. You can't blame that guy. I'm sure he's sweating bullets. I'm sure ABC is like, are you kidding me with this? Remember ABC, the ratings were so bad for the Oscars before that they leveraged having more creative input, and this is what they did? So it's a little bit of a disaster. All right, so let's talk about my thoughts on the show. Now, Steven Soderbergh, I think Steven Soderbergh, he just wasn't a good choice. The opening was very Steven Soderbergh-y with Regina walking down the hall. I thought that was very cool. I thought she looked fabulous. I liked the credits that came up. But that's the only thing that I thought had any flourish throughout the entire show. You're like, he's not a particularly commercial director. Sometimes he is. Like, everyone loved Contagion. Everyone really liked Ocean's 11. But it works better. Lisa, I see some of you, like Lisa, saying they need a host. Last year they didn't have a host, and I thought that was okay. But I think, I think I agree with you in that they need someone to be in the host position. And I think what happened last year is that they had multiple people stepping in and acting as a host, which was great. Not as presenters, but they came in and they were hosts. And I think that's important. I think that having nobody do that was really bad. Like, I tweeted, I was like, is this just all talking all night? We'll talk about that in a moment. Hey, Jose. So I think Steven Soderbergh doesn't have the commercial sensibilities. I think that COVID restricted a lot of what he could do. I think they were so afraid of Zoom that they didn't think about what the alternative might be even worse, which it was. And then also, they didn't think like a viewer at home. I think that at the Oscars, they very much thought like, what was it like to be in the room? And was it entertaining for other industry people? And so I think that was problematic. I think they really needed to think, what is it? I mean, I think it would help them going forward to have someone produce this show who is coming from the viewpoint of someone who watches it from home. Because I think they're too concerned with what does the industry think about it and what do the people in the room think about it. Now, I loved the room. Let me bring up a picture of this room. This was gorgeous. Hold on. Although I actually think it ended up not being the right thing to do, but it was beautiful. It would be a great new restaurant to add to Los Angeles. I thought that was really stunning. So it was like a 1920s club. I was like, oh, I'd like a booth. I would really like a booth there. Those were nice. Those plush circular booths. I was like, what do I need to do to get one of those? They're like, get nominated for an Oscar or know someone who is. But I thought it was really gorgeous. I like a good restaurant. So I thought that was awesome. But instead of this becoming, I agree, Josh, the outside set was stunning as well. However, I think like for instance, you see the sunlight pouring into the room. Now that's lovely for a restaurant, but it makes it seem less of a party like the Golden Globes. This seemed more like a business luncheon. And I gotta tell you, if you've ever been to a business luncheon, they're super boring. You can't make a business luncheon interesting. So the fact that they turned it into a business luncheon ended up being really bad for them. And the daylight and the pastel colors, I think really made it seem not only like a luncheon, but like it wasn't a big deal. It didn't have the energy of a big night show like it does when it's in the Dolby. Like, we're putting on a show, and you're like, oh boy. This was like, oh, what do they have for lunch? And, I didn't see anyone eating either. I guess they couldn't. But, it just did not work out. I thought some of the framing angles were nice, like when they would come up to the screen. I thought, they would come up to the stage to get their Oscar, and they'd have the flowers in the foreground or an Oscar. I was like, oh, that's a nice shot, Soderbergh. And he's like, thank you. And I was like, I think that's the least important thing here, but you did that nicely. So that was good. Now let's talk about the format of the show, which was extremely poorly done. So it was revealed today, as everyone called up the people who made this, and they were like, what were you thinking? So they said why they took out the clips. They were like, we took out the clips because it takes too long to have clips. And everyone's like, but that's why I tune in, for the clips. So they took out the clips, but then they became concerned that the show would run too short, which is why they gave people more time to speak. The speeches were longer, although they became so long that it started to run over again. So they had to tell people to not talk as long. Now, I will say that some of the speeches were excellent. My two favorite speeches were towards the beginning of the show when I was still listening to what people were saying. As the show progressed, I stopped listening to a lot of it. I was just like, because also it was very hard to follow, which we'll talk about in a moment. But my two favorite speeches were Thomas Vinterberg, who won Best Foreign Language Film for Another Round, which they are remaking. There was, in fact, a bidding war between Leonardo DiCaprio and Jake Gyllenhaal to remake this film in English. I think that's horrible. I think people should, we're becoming more of a global world. People should watch subtitles. Now, I watched the trailer for Another World the other day. I'm going to watch it, but I've just been very busy and I have too much to watch this week. But I thought it was a little bit ridiculous that they have this thing where they have the subtitles up and they have them in white, and then they have a white background sometimes and you can't see half the subtitles. Subtitles should either be in yellow or they should have a black box behind them so you know what the heck you're looking at. So Leonardo DiCaprio won, and he's he's definitely going to produce it. We'll see if he stars in it. He is a good American equivalent for Mads Mikkelsen, but Mads Mikkelsen gets a lot of work in America. I think he's a fine equivalent to Mads Mikkelsen. I just wish people would watch the film. You could watch it for free if you subscribe to Hulu. It's on there right now. So I think it'll probably go the way of the remake of The Invincibles. So, just watch the original. All right, so Thomas Vinterberg's speech I thought was really touching and so tragic about losing his daughter to someone texting when they were driving. I'm glad he added that. I think he gave a lot of humanity to it. So I thought that was excellent. And then I thought that Mia Neal, who was part of the makeup and hair team for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, what she talked about with her father and his experiences, I thought were beautiful. And that she didn't want it to ever be groundbreaking anymore when someone won of a different ethnicity or group, but she just wanted it to become normal. And I thought, just like it should not be unusual for different types of people to be winning these. And I thought that was really wonderful. Oh, you're right, Jay King. I did love Yoon Ho Jung's speech as well. I thought she was just charming. She was just wonderful. And Emerald, so I'm not saying those speeches weren't good, but those were my two favorites that really struck a chord with me. Now, I thought that the intros were just awful. I thought the introductions were so bad. Like, when the show started, I didn't even know they were giving out the first Oscar. And suddenly, because, who was it? Like, Laura Dern or someone was like, let me tell you about what people like about movies. And I was like, oh, so boring. And then they're like, and the Oscar goes to, and I was like, what? What category is this? I didn't even know they were giving out an Oscar. So that was ridiculous. In fact, I thought that it went so poorly for the first couple of awards, I would have thought from the directing booth, they would have cut it. A few years ago, Dolby invited me to cover the Oscars behind the scenes. And hey, Steven Vasquez. And I got to go in the booth, the Command Central, and I got to go and see, all the cool Oscar places at the Dolby. But they have a major command center. They are on top of it. And I just can't believe they weren't in there being like, oh my God, this is not working. Cut it. Tell the other hosts not to do this anymore. So, because it was just so bad. So, I thought they should have done editing packages where these people told their own things. Like, it was so weird to have Laura Dern or someone else, or who was it? Who said that Glenn Close liked animated Disney movies? Why couldn't Glenn Close tell me that? And Glenn Close, by the way, hey, Sufjan27, was sitting right there. She was so close we could see her do the butt on global television. So I just thought it was so weird to have the people standing right there, and then yet someone else had to be the middleman to tell us, what they liked about movies. I'm like, you can't edit a package together on this? I think they should hire someone who does sports packages, like the Super Bowl. I want to see stats on screen to have that energy. I think that would be a better thing. I thought the best presentation of the night from top to bottom was Bong Joon-ho for Best Director. He was in Dolby Cinema in Seoul. I love Dolby Cinema. I think IMAX is good, but I like that Dolby works to get rid of the sight lines when you're in the theater. I think that's really great because I'm so annoyed with people being on their phones, but it's harder to see that in a Dolby theater. So anyway, I thought it was wonderful that he was in the theater. I don't know why he had to have an interpreter, though. I understand that he doesn't, his translator. I understand that he doesn't speak English to the point that he wants to present in that way. But are we so against subtitles that his interpreter needs to stand next to him and then say the whole thing afterwards? I don't understand why we just can't have subtitles on the screen with him. Steven Soderbergh could do it in a fun way. But I just think we should move beyond that. I think that people really need to start to everyone likes Sharon? Okay, well, I didn't realize that Sharon had a fan club. So, we'll keep her then. So that's great. But I think they should have been on the screen together. Although I did like when it cut to her and then Bong Joon-ho ran around behind the camera so that when it's kept going across, there was Bong Joon-ho again. So that was great. So Bong Joon-ho, I now learned a package deal with Sharon, so that's great. But I liked his presentation the best. I liked when he talked about I thought it was funny though, that he was like, Bong Joon-ho was like, this is the worst question. I hate it when I get it. But then I asked it to other people. So he gave it, you say, Will, that not everyone can read, but when they did the director presentation and he talked about how everybody answered this, it was, it was just on screen with his, with in Korean and then with subtitles there. Sharon didn't translate that part. So I think that that's, not consistent. But I liked that package. I liked the package with the stories of what they said. I wish that they had recorded it in their own voices, the different directors, but I liked hearing what they said, and I loved seeing the behind-the-scenes pictures. That was the closest that we got to some cool clips, so I really liked that. I liked seeing the directors on their respective sets. I thought that was really wonderful. So I really liked that. I thought that was the best one. So we'll go over the major winners in a moment, but first let's talk about who didn't win, and that's poor Mr. Chadwick Boseman. Now, I want to make it clear that Anthony Hopkins is obviously nothing to do with him. Anthony Hopkins, I'm sure he was just as shocked this morning. I saw some funny things on Twitter with people thinking about the funny clip from Thor Ragnarok when Loki is Odin and it's played by Anthony Hopkins and he's like, "Oh beep," I thought that was very funny. So I thought that nobody should of course be upset with Anthony Hopkins. He was as much, I think, affected by this as how everybody was who felt bad about it. And I did think that his acceptance speech this morning was quite touching. Anthony Hopkins, by the way, doesn't even care. He doesn't even watch these shows. He doesn't go to them. He didn't even show up to the London theater where he could have been there, from far away like some other people were. And he didn't know, there was a story about him not realizing that he won the BAFTAs because he was painting in another room. And when his family reacted, the story says that he thought he was watching sports, that they were watching a sports game. So you're like, he doesn't even care. And he already has an Oscar, by the way. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But I just want to point out that, Anthony Hopkins, fine dude, very talented actor. And I thought he handled it beautifully this morning when he did say something nice to Chadwick Boseman in his acceptance speech. Now, the Oscars made a bad situation even worse. Now, if you're wondering what this image is on the top of the screen here, boop. Oh, I'll just highlight this one. Where'd it go? All right, so right there, you see this gold, mask, death mask of Chadwick Boseman? So this is just so horrible. I can't believe that the Academy thought this was a good idea. So they commissioned someone to make a piece of digital art. It's digital art that I think is supposed to maybe raise money, but it's digital. It's not even a real thing. It's I don't even know how they handed it out, on a thumb drive. So they made this thing and they gave it free to everybody at the Oscars. Maybe they felt they'd, I don't know, talk about it on social media or something. But the way they handed it out was they put this in the gift bags, which I thought was just appalling. I thought that was just appalling to have next to perfume, airline miles, a restaurant coupon, you have this to Chadwick Boseman. I couldn't believe that. And it's very disturbing mask. It seems so bizarre. I thought, Jose hadn't even heard of this yet. It was just shocking to me that you would root around in your goodie bag and this would be one of the things in there. It's just so tone deaf and, as Alfonso said, disrespectful. It's just shocking. So that was one thing that made it just horrible. The second is that they changed the order. Now, many of us were quite shocked that they had Best Picture announced before Best Actress and Best Actor. Many people tweeted about it, including myself. When they started to go through the Best Picture winners, I was like, oh my gosh, I must have missed the Best Actor and Best Actress announcements. And I quickly went online to try and look it up, and I saw they hadn't announced it. And I was like, did they change the order? And they did, because they callously wanted to end from a ratings standpoint on Chadwick Boseman winning, because they felt that was such a surefire thing. And that's really, that's very bad in and of itself. It would have been a touching moment no matter when in the ceremony it happened. And I think that it makes it again seem like they were doing it to capitalize off of someone's passing, which is really horrible. So I thought that was very bad. I'm shocked that that Price Waterhouse did not at least give them a heads up that Best Actor wasn't going to go the way they thought it was. I don't think that anyone's like, oh my God, you better not tell the Academy who won Price Waterhouse. This is a super well-guarded secret. I mean, this is the second time that Price Waterhouse has really messed the Oscars up. Of course, when that guy got infatuated with Emma Stone and gave the wrong envelope to Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway and had them accidentally read La La Land instead of Moonlight at the Oscars for Best Picture. Now, I'm not saying they should have said who won, but I think the Price Waterhouse really should have had the sensibility to go up to the top people at the Oscars. I wouldn't just tell anybody, but I'd go up to the top people in the Oscars and I would say, hey, just so you're prepared, it's not the obvious winner for Best Actor. Because it was the obvious winner. All right? So we're going to talk about that. But I still think that Price Waterhouse, if I were the Oscar people or the Academy, I'd be like, I can't believe you did this to me. I'd be very upset about it. Now, I do believe that it was a mistake to put him up for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I have been saying since the beginning of awards season, because I loved Da 5 Bloods, and Netflix released both these movies, and Netflix made this choice. Studios make a choice for what they're going to push, and they pushed him for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I think he should have been nominated for Best Supporting for Da 5 Bloods. I think he would have won for that. I think it was a very touching role. I think it tied better in, story-wise, in terms of a narrative, as for the win. But, at the same time, I feel bad because then Daniel Kaluuya wouldn't have won, and he's incredible. Keith Stanfield didn't win because Daniel Kaluuya won. It's tough. There are some Sophie's choices here. I can tell you that I don't think that Chadwick Boseman versus Anthony Hopkins was a Sophie's choice. I think it was very clearly something that Chadwick Boseman should have won, and I'll explain my thinking to you in a moment. But I do believe that he was submitted in the wrong category. I think that he would have been a shoo-in for Da 5 Bloods in supporting. And that's how Heath Ledger was able to win. He was up in supporting, and I think that helped him as well. So it's unfortunate that was messed up there. But the Academy, that's what was handed to them, and I still think they should have come through with the win. All right, now, I do also think that it wouldn't have been as difficult if Riz Ahmed or Stephen Yeun had won. Because I was feeling bad that Riz Ahmed and Stephen Yeun were nominated, but yet there was no chance they would win. I was like, it kind of is difficult for you guys. It's just a bad year for you, but at least you're Oscar nominated. And they're very early in their careers. They will have many more opportunities to get nominated for an Oscar. And once you get nominated once, it becomes a lot easier to get nominated again. It's just, you become part of the club. Everybody pays closer attention to your performances. So I think that Riz Ahmed and Stephen Yeun will likely be nominated again and probably will win. I'm a big fan of both of them. I really like them both. I really like both of them, actually, quite a bit. But I think that if they had won, people would have been like, well, that's unfortunate, but at least these guys, it's another. I think the problem is that Anthony Hopkins and Frances McDormand winning was just more of the same. Frances McDormand just won for basically playing the same role. And Anthony Hopkins has already won. I'm very upset that Carey Mulligan didn't win Best Actress. We're going to go through the categories in just a few moments. But I feel that at least people would have felt that the Academy was turning a corner in the types of roles that they recognize. Now, some of you like to say, and some of you like to say, well, it's on the best performance. But I think it becomes suspicious when the best performance or the best candidate is always from a certain category. Because there's talent across the board. There's universal talent out there. And so I think that, that's when it becomes a little bit difficult. And the Oscars are very political, because I want to tell you that at the Alexander, I see you. You're disrupting the stream. All right. So anyway, I have to say that I think, with the exception of Gary Oldman, who I did not think did a good job in Mank and I think was miscast, every single actor in the Best Actor category, Anthony Hopkins, Riz Ahmed, Stephen Yeun, and Chadwick Boseman, all did a job that was so good that they were all valid choices to win. So it becomes a matter of personal opinion, right? I don't think you can argue that Anthony Hopkins gave the best performance. I just don't believe that. I think that everybody in that category, hey Clayton, gave an equally good, except for Gary Oldman, gave an equally good performance. And that's why Oscar narratives come into play. So if everybody's equally good, what is the deciding factor? And that's when you start thinking about the person's career, who you want to move forward in Hollywood, the bodies of work. And in this case, someone who passed away, and this was their last chance for an Oscar. Now, I know some people like to say, hey, there's, honorary Oscars out there. I'll never forget that, what's the name of the actor who played Lawrence of Arabia? Peter O'Toole. Peter O'Toole got an honorary Oscar. Hey, Keandra. And I remember when he did it in his acceptance speech, he said, I really would have liked to have won it outright, but this is very nice, thank you. And it made a big impression on me, And so I think also this is the story of Chadwick Boseman, and it was supposed to end on him getting an Oscar. And now you have a situation where the story of Chadwick Boseman ends on him being snubbed. And I think that that's really unfortunate. I mean, they might give Chadwick Boseman an honorary Oscar next year, but everyone's going to know why they did it because they made a major mistake here. I believe that not giving Chadwick Boseman the Oscar here will haunt the Academy Awards, just like when they didn't put The Dark Knight even for a nomination for Best Picture. And also, this is as bad a snub as like when Sean Penn won over Mickey Rourke. And Mickey Rourke never recovered from that. I believe Kate Hudson was also a famous snub. I thought it was a cruel thing to do to Chadwick Boseman. I thought it was really a cruel thing to do. Now, there was a story going along that a lot of the people who were voters had, one of the trades reported that there was a momentum going, that people felt that Chadwick Boseman was a lock, so they felt, okay, they were going to vote for Anthony Hopkins. But even that, I think it's like, well, if he's a lock, don't you understand why Chadwick Boseman's a lock? And you should vote for him? Like, why aren't you like, yes, definitely. I mean, Chadwick Boseman should win. I mean, it's crazy to me. So let me also tell you, I want to give you two examples that I think make this more clear. Because again, I think some people, if you like Anthony Hopkins' performance more, that's fine. But I can guarantee you there are other people who prefer Riz Ahmed, Stephen Yeun's, or Chadwick Boseman's performance more. So then you have to, again, go to other elements, and that's why Chadwick Boseman should have won. That's why Chadwick Boseman should have won. For that any actor, or hey, Bleak, or anyone in the Academy wouldn't do everything that they could. And by the way, that only requires them to check a box. That's all they had to do. If someone can't even be bothered to check a box to secure the legacy of Chadwick Boseman, that's just, to me, really sad that they couldn't do that, that they wouldn't even be willing to do that. I mean, aren't they concerned with their own legacies and the legacies of their peers? I mean, I just think that was to me, it was like really, really important. So the two examples that I want to give you. All right, so the first one is Heath Ledger, who posthumously won the Oscar, let's see here, in 2008 for The Joker. Totally deserving. But I think a lot of the times when we have these conversations about past winners, we forget who they were nominated against. So I have looked it up. So Heath Ledger, he was up against, in Best Supporting, he was up against Josh Brolin for Dan White in Milk. Robert Downey Jr. for Kirk Lazarus in Tropic Thunder. That was an amazing performance. Philip Seymour Hoffman for Doubt. And Michael Shannon for Revolutionary Road. Now, those are some great performances there. And I think that, again, you could argue that other people in the category maybe did a better job. And also, the industry, that's a comic book role that Heath Ledger won for. A comic book role. And yet the Academy realized that it was important to do this for his legacy. But yet they didn't for Chadwick Boseman? I mean, that's just appalling. So I just want to point that out. And also people are like, oh, well, there's another chance down the line. Robert Downey Jr., he was nominated for Chaplin and he was nominated for Tropic Thunder. This was back in 2008. He still has yet to be nominated again. So I think that I'm just pointing out to you that it's not so clear-cut there either. Now, also, the other one I wanted to point out to you is Jeff Bridges, who the next year, in 2009, won Best Actor for Crazy Heart. Now, the reason I brought up this one in particular is that when Jeff Bridges won, a lot of people were like, should Jeff Bridges win? But every single interview with somebody who was an Academy member, who was a voter, they said, Jeff Bridges, it's his turn. Jeff Bridges has been in the Academy in Hollywood for so long. Jeff Bridges, is from a family of actors. His father was Lloyd Bridges. And so every single person, they said, why are you voting for Jeff Bridges? And every single person, to a T, answered, because it's Jeff Bridges' turn. And so I brought this up, and he went up against George Clooney in Up in the Air, Colin Firth in A Single Man, who won the next year, Morgan Freeman for Invictus, although, of course, Chadwick Boseman can't be nominated next year because he's passed away, and then Jeremy Renner for The Hurt Locker. And everybody said, though, well, those performances are fine, but it's Jeff Bridges' turn. So the point that I'm bringing this up for is that it was Chadwick Boseman's turn. And to rob him of that, I think is really appalling. And that's why the Academy will not be able to live this down, probably ever. It'll always be a mark on their... And to have his widow sitting there, as you guys said. I mean, I think in that situation, you'd be like, you would go to Price Waterhouse and you'd be like, come on, dude. So, I mean, that's just how I feel. I feel very strongly about it. Extremely strong about it. All right, let's talk about the winners. And this will be a little bit more interactive. So let me take this because we're off of story number one. We're off of that discussion. All right. And I said in my tweet that by doing this, they took away all the goodwill of the rest of the evening. And I really feel that way because it made it seem like that was just all for pretend. Because when it really mattered, the Academy didn't step up. That's why I said that. I think when it mattered, I think to do that to Chadwick Boseman is just so horrible. All right. Yes, I'm glad you enjoyed my Oscar rant, Tanya. I'm pretty upset about it still. All right, now let's go on to we'll heal. We'll remember Chadwick Boseman. What a career to celebrate, by the way. Chadwick Boseman, and such a prince, not only on the silver screen but in real life. Remember the wonderful things that he said about Denzel at his when Denzel got his AFI award. That was just incredible, and his work from 42, right, to all the roles that he played, and just for Black Panther alone. Really. All right, let's go. Let's talk about something else. All right. So, Oscars 2021, Best Picture, Nomadland. Nomadland. It's fine. I wasn't upset until Frances McDormand won because I like Chloe Zhao quite a bit, and I can understand that some people did like Nomadland. I'm like, fine. A lot of people watched it apparently on streaming. So it was fine. But, I thought that pretty much any other movie in the top 10, except for probably Mank or Minari, would have been a great choice for Best Picture. So I was like, oh, you picked the one. I mean, I thought Nomadland was the worst of the group, to be honest with you. So what did you guys think? Were you guys happy with, well, I'll ask you on each one very quickly. What did you guys, Lisa's like, I love Nomadland. I watched it 3 times. Well, again, that's why when I tweeted about this, I said, with respect, I do not care for this film. I think Trial of Chicago 7, Lloyd, came out too early. It was released for the original Oscar timing. See, some of you are happy, and that's awesome. Good for you. I'm happy you're happy. I really love Judas and the Black Messiah. That was a great movie. I wish more people talked about it. So that was Best Picture. Then for Best Director, Chloe Zhao. It was so wonderful to see a woman win again. Only the second one to ever win. And there were 2 women nominated in the category. I thought this was a wonderfully diverse category. You had a foreign, actually Chloe Zhao hails from China originally, but Thomas Vinterberg for another round. Emerald Fennell from the UK. I mean, it was just great. It was really wonderful. So I thought the directing category, I loved everything about the directing category. And I was very happy that Chloe Zhao won. She was adorable when she said she was so happy that Harrison Ford said her name. It was really sweet. And I like her. I think she's a great personality. I think she's going to have a bright future. I can't wait to see the Eternals trailer. So I was very happy with that. I mean, I was like, well, yay. I mean, we all knew she was going to win because she won she did win like every award. It's like how Chadwick Boseman won like pretty much every award too for Best Actor. All right, now Best Actor, we just talked about that. So we won't do Best Actor. We just talked about that. Best Actress in a Leading Role. This is when I got upset because Frances McDormand won for Nomadland. Hey, Darth Jarvis. When she howled, I know some people liked when she howled, but that reminded me of being like in a bad acting class. I was like, oh man. I mean, it's just not for me, right? I mean, I understand that some people are like, Frances McDormand is my jam. Well, that's good. Yay. I understand that she has fans. And I do sometimes enjoy Frances McDormand quite a bit. But as I said before, she just won for 3 Billboards, playing like pretty much the exact same role. And I'm going to join in with everybody here who's saying that Carey Mulligan was robbed. I agree. Carey Mulligan should have won this award. She was transformative here. I thought she was phenomenal. I know a lot of you wanted to see a Viola Davis win, and to be fair, I did not see Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I did not get a chance to see it. And Andra Day, also, she won the Golden Globe. So she was the front runner, in fact. But Viola Davis already has an Oscar. I know it would be great to see her win for Best Actress. But again, they try to be pretty democratic with the Oscars, unless there's just someone who just did something incredible. So I would have been happy with Andra Day as well, to be honest with you, because I know that people liked her performance so much. Vanessa Kirby, she wasn't really in this race. It's an honor to be nominated. But I really wanted Carey Mulligan to win. I thought that her role was incredible. I felt that another actress could have easily messed that film up. I think that role was a difficult role to play and could have been made to be unlikable. And I thought, and because it was a difficult role, but I thought Carey Mulligan just did a beautiful job with it. And she should have won. Carey Mulligan, in my opinion, is who I would have voted for. But as I said, I would have been just equally as happy with Andra Day. But I just thought Frances McDormand was a ridiculous choice. I was very upset about that too. All right, Best Actor in a Supporting Role. Oh, they're all so great. This was a tough category. I'm so happy that Daniel Kaluuya won. I thought Daniel Kaluuya was phenomenal in that film. I felt bad that he and Lakeith Stanfield had to be in the same category. I thought Lakeith Stanfield, quite frankly, was the lead in that film. But the problem is that I think that, you choose who you submit for. And I think that Warner Brothers felt that they couldn't even get him a nomination in the Best Actor category. So at least Lakeith Stanfield got on the board with the nomination. And again, it'll be easier for him going forward to get nominated again. So I was very happy about that. Although I have to say, I thought that Paul Raci in Sound of Metal, he was just incredible. I thought he was just so good in that movie. I would have been fine if he had won. Although Daniel Kaluuya, such a great guy. He was so funny on Saturday Night Live the other day, like a few weeks ago. And then Leslie Odom Jr., I did not care for One Night in Miami, even though Leslie Odom Jr. was one of my favorite people in Hamilton. And then Sacha Baron Cohen, Trial of Chicago 7, he was fine, but he was basically just playing Sacha Baron Cohen. So, I think Daniel Kaluuya was phenomenal, but I would have been just as happy with Lakeith Stanfield or Paul, I'm mispronouncing his last name, Raci. I thought he was great. What did Clark ask? What did you ask, Clark? I don't see your question. Oh. Why are the Oscars so political and not just give the Oscars to the actual best in the category? Well, Clark, as I just explained, it's racy. Thank you. As I just explained in the Chadwick Boseman discussion, that it's subjective as to who gives the best performance. And I think in many of these categories, you can make a very strong argument that several people gave the best performance. So then it becomes about the narrative, about whose turn is it? Who is everyone getting behind? Whose career has Hollywood decided they want to move forward? And here they decided that Daniel Kaluuya. That's the choice that they made. Sean, I like Clark. Maybe Clark just joined, to be fair. People join the live stream at different times, so I'm happy to explain it again. Best Actress in a Supporting Role. There were a lot of great candidates here, but Yoon Yo-jing from Minari has become an awards darling. She has been fantastic on the awards circuit, and she did not disappoint last night, and so I think she was a wonderful winner. I thought everybody was great. Olivia Colman, when she was in the UK, and they talked about the things that she liked to do as a movie fan, she was so cute in the seat. She was all like, I do like to do that. She was just adorable, so I thought that was wonderful. But I thought here, definitely she was a great choice. Yoon Yo-jing, I hope she wins. I hope she gets some more work in Hollywood. Best Original Song, Fight for You from Judas and the Black Messiah. I did not care for any of these songs except for Husavik from Eurovision. So, but there's no one I was rooting for here, and there was no one I thought should not win though at the same time. So it's fine. Best Original Score, Soul won, which it should win. It was an incredible score. John Batiste gave a wonderful speech. I don't think that Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor got to speak, but they have won before. So they've already gotten the chance to be up there. But it was Best Original Score for Soul. That was an incredible score. And it was such a diverse score. It was like it had techno and jazz. I just thought it was incredible. I was just really a big fan of that. Let's see here. Best Film Editing, Sound of Metal. Best Cinematography, Mank, black and white, not surprised about that. Best Production Design, Mank, also not surprised because Mank was a very cool film the way it was put together. Best Visual Effects, Tenet. Not a huge surprise here. I thought One and Only Ivan maybe would have been a better choice, quite frankly, because the One and Only Ivan required so much acting from the visual effects team. I think it would be nice if that had been recognized. Best Documentary, My Octopus Teacher. I have not watched a single one of these documentaries. I'm not a documentary fan, but I know a lot of people were very happy about this, so hooray! Then Best Documentary Short, Colette. Best Animated Feature, Soul. I was so happy about Soul winning Best Animated Feature. We all knew it was going to win, although there are a lot of Wolfwalkers fans out there. But that guy never wins. He keeps getting nominated, but he just can't take the final trophy. But I thought Soul was like the ultimate Pixar movie. I just thought it was incredible. I was so happy that it won. I just thought it was so good. On Friday, that prequel short comes out, which I feel should have Joe Gardner in it, but doesn't. But anyway. Best Animated Short, If Anything Happens, I Love You. Best Live Action Short Film, Two Distant Strangers. That's great that won. That's very timely. The Letter Room was directed by Oscar Isaac's wife and stars Oscar Isaac, so I thought that was fun. But Two Distant Strangers is extremely timely, ripped from the headlines, literally. Best Sound, no surprise, Sound of Metal. That was incredible sound design. It was weird. I liked Sound of Metal, but it was not a particularly entertaining film, although that retreat was just so lovely. I hope that there are real places like that for people to go, for free no less. I wish that the world made it easier for people to find places like that and they didn't have to luck into it. I think we should focus more in this world on rehabilitation. I think that's becoming very clear. Let's see here. Best Costume Design, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Best Hair and Makeup, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Again, I loved that speech. Best International Feature, Another Round. I have to watch that, but and I'm going to watch it. I'm not going to wait for the remake. I'm watching the original. And then Best Adapted Screenplay, The Father. I'm not surprised. That was based on a play, and they like. Well, though it won Best Actor, so it had a lot of some wins already. And then Best Original Screenplay, Promising Young Woman, Emerald Fennell. I was so happy that she won an Oscar. I think she's so talented. Big fan of what she did on that movie. And of course, she's going on to write Zatanna, and I think that's just wonderful. So that was a tough category, Best Original Screenplay, though. Judas and the Black Messiah. I hope that Shaka King gets something soon. He hasn't been picked up yet. I'm disappointed in that. I would have wished that someone would have hired him. One of you DM'd me and said maybe he could direct Captain America 4. I'd love to see Carrie Scoglin do it because she did the series, Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I would love to see Shaka King get anything. I think he's really, really talented. Minari, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. Aaron Sorkin is the only one I would probably take out of that because, he does this stuff a lot already. But yeah, there's a lot. You know what? I think the nice takeaway from this was, let's end this on for Blade. You're right, Alfonso. Shaka King would be great for Blade. On the positive note I want to end this on before I open it up to discussion. I think that there's a lot of new talent coming up through the ranks, and that's exciting. Diverse talent from all groups, and that's really great. So I think that the older members of the Academy, unfortunately, still have a lot of sway, which is why there were some of these unfortunate winners. But I think that a lot of, being nominated is an honor, and it's more than just an honor. Once that's on your resume, you will work forever. And I think that's really important. So, and there's some great movies coming up, like In the Heights. All right, what team is everybody on? West Side Story or In the Heights? And you have to choose. No, you don't have to choose. If you would like, you may be on the team of both. So let's hear what you guys say. You can say In the Heights, West Side Story, or both. And then I'll open this up to questions. Oh, I've been talking to you guys for a long time. I like talking to you guys. It's fun. Oh, look at all the In the Heights. I see some both, though. Neither. That's funny. West Side. I do see some West Side Stories. West Side Stories is iconic. West Side Story is iconic. Although I have to tell you, it seems like such a straight remake of the original. It's weird that he would remake it. I didn't react to it because I accidentally watched it while it was airing. And my reactions are authentic. Thank you very much. So, they were hiding Ansel Elgort. I just think it's weird in today's day and age to be like, oh, we're going to have this white gang. And you're like, what? I mean, white gangs today are groups that I don't think anybody would sympathize with for the most part. So it's a weird sell to me. I do like musicals, Logan. Yeah, Hector, West Side Story looked so similar to the original. It was very odd. I'd be like, Carlos, what? Okay, all right, we'll open it up to questions. Carlos says, what did you think of 9 Perfect Strangers? It looks super weird, and it's weird to me. Sometimes Nicole Kidman looks so gorgeous, and sometimes you're like, did anyone do a spot check before they filmed? But I will say that I thought that for so many major actors to be in that's incredible. Zach, I'm not going to cover the West Side Story trailer that aired, but I will cover the next one. Alfonso says, do you think the Oscars should move away from cable? No, I think they just have to realize, here's the thing. When I was in film school, I got into a really big argument with my class because there was a question that was asked of us. And the question was, if you paint a painting, who did you paint it for? Did you paint it for yourself or did you paint it for people to see? And I argued that if you painted it for people to see. And that upset a lot of people in my class. But the reason that I argued that was because if you painted it, you wanted to share it. If it was for you, it would just, that's right, Lisa. It would, if the visual was just for you, it was already in your head. So there was no reason to paint it. If you painted it to share and for others to see. So that I felt that way very strongly. Now, I can understand that people could maybe make the other argument. That's right, Barbie. I said what I said. Now, I understand that people could make the other argument, but I think that here's the difference. If you're going to sell tickets or ask people to show up, like here, if it's just for you, then keep it to yourself in your house. But if you display a painting, I'll go even further. If you display a painting in public, then it is for others. And that's how I feel about movies, and that's how I also feel about the Oscars. If the Oscars are going to be aired on television and they want people to watch because they're selling commercials, they need to make it entertaining to the people who are watching it. The people who are in the room would show up no matter what. It is part of their job to show up. So nobody cares if they have a good time. And that's the problem. That is consistently the problem with the Oscars. They're like, oh, do you think the people in the Oscars had a good time? Do you think that Hollywood is proud of this? Who cares? Did people tune in? That's the bottom line on the Oscars. You know, when they have I'll tell you this. I feel like I'm back in film school. The Monday after, does anybody air a story about how everybody in Hollywood felt about the Oscars? Or do they put up a number as to how many people watched? They put up the number. So I would say to the producers of the Oscars, that is the only number that you should care about. So I feel strongly about it. Thank you, Elliot. AJ says Oscars went downhill when Seth MacFarlane hosted. You know, I got to say, though, that gag he did about the socks in the dryer, I will never forget how funny it was. I thought that was actually brilliant. So I will always have a fond memory of him hosting. It was very uneven hosting. But does anyone remember the sock gag? I mean, that was a great gag. Mika says Green Lantern filming pushed back to September. Where did you see that? I think that the Green Lantern situation is that they have Jeff Johns maybe still associated with the show. I think that's problematic. I think maybe you have people being like, do I want to be in a show with Jeff Johns attached to it? I heard they were having a real hard time getting actors to sign on. I heard that they were filming. I don't know where they're filming. The last I heard about Green Lantern was that they were filming in some location that a lot of people didn't want to go to, which I thought was weird. What location is so bad that you wouldn't star in the HBO Max Green Lantern show? Mars, which according to Elon Musk, a lot of people aren't going to make it back from. John says, oh, hey, John, do you think Marvel could release the Eternals trailer jumping on the Chloe Zhao bandwagon? I don't think so, to be honest with you. They have too much to promote. Eternals doesn't come out until November. Now, of course, never say never. Someone might decide to release it now. But here's my reasoning for why it probably will come out with Black Widow. They still, right now, they already have Shang-Chi on the board. They have to get people excited about Loki, and they have to get people excited about Black Widow, and now they're getting people excited about Shang-Chi. Something else has to clear off the board first. So once Loki releases, then I think they can maybe start pushing Eternals. As Michael just said, I honestly believe it'll come in July with Black Widow, to be honest with you. Let's see here. GP says, you mentioned Kate Hudson was snubbed for an Oscar. What was that for? Almost Famous, I believe. But I'm answering that off the top of my head. Jorge says, but Grace, they teased West Side Story, which comes out later in December. That's true. But for that, it was, the reason that they did that was that they wanted to have the honor of being at the Oscars. They wanted the Oscar crowd to see the advertisement for the film. Now, if something came out that was like to tie into the Eternals just perfectly, they would have done it. Now, some of you might be like, well, Chloe Zhao winning a bunch of Oscars seems like a good tie-in to me, Grace. And it would if the movie had been closer, but it's not. And I think the difference is that Marvel has so many other things to promote first. Barbie says, do you think Shadow and Bone will get a season 2? I think that it will. I mean, I think it's real popular. They haven't announced it just quite yet. Netflix is a little slow on announcing. I mean, if Ginny and Georgia got a season 2, I would imagine that Shadow and Bone would. It's so good. If you haven't watched Shadow and Bone, you should get on that. And don't sleep on these shows, because other stuff's coming that you're going to have to watch as well. Like, you got to start watching Mayor of Easttown. The Oscars were so bad that last night when it was over, I watched Mayor of Easttown and stayed up late because I was like, I got to wash that out of my mouth. Or out of my eyes. And Mayor of Easttown, episode 2, did not disappoint, let me tell you. Crown Wolf says, a whole month with no Marvel content. Yeah, it's going to be tough. But we're stuffed. We're stuffed from WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier back to back. I think that Marvel has to make a little room for Star Wars, because don't forget, I kind of did, but The Bad Batch starts May 4th. On May the 4th be with you. So they're really going to want to focus on that. Star Wars is like, hey, wait a minute. We were the original Disney Plus sensation. Thank you very much. UCF 810 says, Grace, do you think Mortal Kombat will get a sequel? I do. I definitely think Mortal Kombat will get a sequel. For sure. Oh, DAN 1213 says, Mayor of Easttown was filmed in my city, Grace. It's awesome to see it. That's so cool. Are you actually in Pennsylvania? I know the show takes place in Pennsylvania. Let's see here. Lloyd, I haven't heard anything about Umbrella Academy or Doom Patrol Season 3. COVID's slowing everything down a lot. Lamontia says, I really like Shadow and Bone. I'm only up to episode 4. Oh, wait till you get to episode 5. It's so good. Let's see here. see. Hey, Breakdance and Dunk. All right, it's 6:15. I'll go for 5 more minutes. I have so much Jupiter's Legacy to watch. I gotta go, but I like talking to you guys. So I'll go for 5 more minutes, and then I must go. No, I'll do questions for 3 more minutes, and then I'll do shout-outs. I love that Anthony Mackie poster they put out today. And also, somebody tweeted a really wonderful video about his son being so happy for him that he was Captain America. I was like, that's so great. I love it. Maruna, I have not watched The Nevers or The Irregulars. And that's an interesting question because the shows are so similar. But I just have not. I just, sometimes I gotta make some Sophie's choices too as to what I cover. And I just decided not to cover that, I'm afraid. Who asked that question? Dan Blaster says, John Cena for Johnny Cage. His persona is like Cage in real life. I agree with you that he would be a fabulous Johnny Cage, but I think he's actually now become too big a star for that franchise. The Mortal Kombat movie franchise needs to decide if it wants to stay with these like pseudo actors or if it wants to get real actors. I'm talking about I liked some people, like I liked Ludi Lin, I liked McCad Brooks, I really liked Josh Lawson who played Kano, and I liked Hiroyuki Sanada and Joe Taslim, of course, as Scorpion and Sub-Zero. But some of the other actors were just, I think you would have trouble getting John Cena to appear alongside them, to be honest with you. So they're going to have to make some hard choices. Juan, I am reviewing The Mitchells versus the Machines. I'm actually going to review that on Wednesday because I'm going to watch Jupiter's Legacy today. I'm going to finish it. Then at midnight, it better drop at midnight, I'm going to watch Justice Society World War II so I can review that tomorrow. So I have that to do tomorrow. I'm sorry. I also have to get this Falcon and Winter Soldier video together that I didn't get to edit. I was so tired for Friday. I filmed this, but I didn't get to edit it. I was so tired. I was going on 3.5 hours of sleep. When Loki comes out, I must make myself go to sleep at 8 o'clock, which is so stupid. But I must do it. I must. I can't work on such little sleep. I mean, I do, but it's not good for me to do that. See, I said we're at 1 more minute of questions. Who said The Miz? Where did it go? Josh says The Miz is way too busy to be Johnny Cage. The Miz wants to be Johnny Cage. I have to say, if they stick with the current casting trends, I probably would hire The Miz. Justice Society World War II has horrible reviews? It looks so good. They wanted to send me a physical. I'll tell you why I didn't review it early. So I emailed them and I said, can you send me a copy of this, a screener? And they said, sure, we'll send you a physical copy. And I said, I don't want a physical copy. I don't even own a DVD player. What the hell am I going to do with that? Can you send me a screening link? And they just didn't write me back. I guess next time I should have just said okay and watched it on my laptop. But I want to watch it on my computer, goddammit. Oh, it's 6:19. All right, let's do shout-outs. All right, everybody. So just tell me what you're up to so I can do a little bit of a shout-out. It's my pleasure, fellow Grace. That's so sweet of you to say that. So just tell me what you're eating, where you are, what you're up to, and I can just say hi to you. Just do a couple of those. Brett's doing laundry in Kansas. I feel your pain. Let's see here. Lisa says doing homework in Madison, Wisconsin. Oh, fantastic. Good for you. Nate Fried Soccereeds is just in Missouri eating sweet tarts. Oh, I remember sweet tarts. I haven't had those in a long time. Peyton just killed a mosquito in his car. Oh, that's a very inventive. What are you doing? A moment of silence for that poor mosquito. But he would have bit you. Let's see here. AJ Sake is about to go cycling. Have a wonderful time. Dax is in a ramen coma. I mean, so you've eaten too much ramen? What a way to go. Chico, you just got your braces off. Congratulations. Dancing Dog 60 is making noodles for dinner in Boston. Delicious. Kyle says, just finished grocery shopping at Pavilions. I love Pavilions in Los Angeles. And you're about to head to the gym? Oh, Pavilions is so fun. Pavilions is this great supermarket in Los Angeles. And one of the fun things they have, supermarkets in LA are great. I just love the suburbs. I think as someone who grew up in New York, the suburbs to me are just a fabulous adventure. I'm like, everything is so big and you have everything in stock. But Pavilions, when you walk down the aisle, the lights on the frozen things like light up with you. It's so great. I love it. Sohail is eating homemade cookies in Glasgow, Scotland. Jorge is getting ready for bed in Toulouse. Jay King is getting ready to watch Mayor of Easttown. Oh, you're not going to disappoint. And I'm so glad you're enjoying the stream. Let's see here. Daniel's going to watch Sound of Metal. You're going to enjoy it. Oh, Peyton Lockley says, I would love Publix. I've never been to a Publix. Someday. When I go to foreign countries, I always go to a movie theater and I always go to a supermarket. I've done that in many times when I've gone to France. I've done that when I was in Italy. It's so much fun. Waffle says, just ate dinner and taking a break from my biology homework. Going to the movies in France was fascinating. No one talked. You guys were so well behaved. It was a joy. Although no one got food either, which was also weird. I was like, doesn't anybody want any snacks? Oh, Scott, you got your rings today. Send me a picture. All right, let's see here. Keith says, about to watch your spoiler review for Mortal Kombat. Oh, I hope you enjoy. Hocus Pocus is making vanilla walnut fudge in Hershey. That's the place to make it. Oh, you guys are giving me all these feels. I've been to Hershey a lot. Hershey, Pennsylvania. When I was growing up, and I used to drive before you could fly to Pittsburgh from New York, I would drive cross state from New York to Pittsburgh, and we would always stop at Hershey Park, and I would go on the World of Chocolate. The World of Chocolate is the very first ride that I ever went on. And one of my first words was on there. Okay, I'll tell you a story about myself as a baby. I think the first thing I ever said was I was on the World of Chocolate ride, and my parents were getting off and taking me off, and I held on with my little baby hands to the bar, and I was like, more. And they thought that was fantastic, and they were like, okay, Grace, but we have to take you around, and we have to go back online, and then we'll go back on again. So I love Hershey Park. It's like I have very fond memories. I used to stay in the Hershey Hotel. They would give you a chocolate bar when you check in. I remembered that so well. That was just so great. If you're ever near Hershey, Pennsylvania, they've changed it a little bit. Is it still Hocus Pocus? Can you still get really good chocolate cake with vanilla frosting? That was my favorite thing to get when I went to the Hershey World. At the end of Hershey World, there's a food court. And of course, they have some bakery stuff. Stephen's having pizza in Connecticut. Oh, Stephen, you did a movie shoot. How wonderful. Hocus Pocus. I need to know about the cake. Yes! They do have the cake. Oh, I would love to get that cake again. It was delicious. Yeah, if you're ever around Hershey, Pennsylvania, and Hershey Park is a really fun theme park. I really like Hershey Park. And if you stay at the hotels, they have a couple different hotels, but I don't know if they still do this, but when you check in, they give you a Hershey bar. And it was really fantastic. It was such a, the whole town, by the way, smells like chocolate. It's fantastic. All right, everybody. Good luck with your test, the council. All right, you guys, I stayed way longer than I should have because I love talking to you so much. You guys are so much fun. It makes me feel so nice that a number of you say that the streams boost, make you have a nice day. And I have to tell you, you do the same thing for me. You really do. So thank you for that. I'm so glad. And also thank you to everybody who tuned in who's not a member. I would like to give a little bit of a perk for people who are nice enough to subscribe, but I'm so glad that you want to join in anyway, and I just want to know that I value that just as much. All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye. See you tomorrow. Lots of videos tomorrow. All right, but I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody, and there'll be streams tomorrow. Streams tomorrow and Wednesday. Okay.